Hey everyone, I'm Dan from JazzComposersPresent.com, an online space where composers, musicians, and listeners come together to celebrate the music we love. I'm joined today by Bob Pilkington, trombonist, composer, leader of the Fusion Nouveau, resident composer of the Jazz Composers Alliance Orchestra, professor of jazz composition at Berklee College of Music, and author of Counterpoint in Jazz Arranging. Bob is here to show us how time and comping contribute to the drama of a piece.
Music is a dramatic art form. It happens in time, like movies or novels or plays. We're telling a story in a way, taking the listener on a journey. There are many factors that might contribute to a dramatic structure. Orchestral parameters would include, which instruments are playing and where they are in their range, the number of events that are happening at the same time, what kind of texture is happening, counterpoint, concerted, or a combination. Manipulation of form is another parameter. Energy dynamics, climax, repose, building energy or releasing energy, transitions, types and quality of the harmony and voicings, use of dissonance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a whole bunch of things. What I want to focus in is on how time is treated. In jazz composition, treatment of time, as expressed by the rhythm section, is a major factor. Different comping approaches employ different treatments of time. I've had many students who come in and they just write slashes and expect that the rhythm section will do whatever is appropriate. Well, that would take a long time. It's much better to have that thought out. It's part of the compositional process. I'm going to talk about time and comping approaches, but as we'll see later, it's actually contrasting approaches to treatment of time that lends itself to the dramatic art. So the first way of treating time is stated time. Time is marked regularly. So that would include like straight comping, groove, some ostinatos. It could be an improvisational free comping that would usually be notated as slashes, or a structured non-angular pattern that might be like a 1 or 2 bar repeat that is notated. Broken or implied time. Time is irregularly marked. We're still feeling it go by, but it's not being marked regularly. So that would include breaks, kicks, rhythm cadences, floating. Also, maybe some stop time, irregular lines, or angular ostinatos. Specific notation would be appropriate for that. No time. So time is not stated or implied. So like a rubato section or free playing, holds, grand pauses, stuff like that. Notation would be appropriate to whatever is written again. And the final one is orientation changes, changing or mixing how time is marked or felt. So that would include like halftime, double time feel, metric modulations, groove changes, cross meters. In this case, notation would be appropriate to whatever is written. There are some possible hybrid possibilities. So a lot of times rhythm section comping, the rhythm section as a whole will have a unified approach, but that's not always. It's very common to not have it all be the same. For example, some would be playing in straight time while others would be playing double time feel. That's very typical. Another hybrid situation would be like maybe a harmonized horn section playing out of time, conducted, over an in-time groove oriented rhythm section. That creates a nice, interesting tension. Another hybrid possibility might be a rubato section that has some vague suggestion of time or meter, espressivo type of approach. Contrasting different time and comping styles that advances the story, the dramatic arc of a piece, among other things. But that's what we're talking about today. So some examples of using this contrast would be like a gradual ramp up in energy. Maybe creating a climax region or a post-climax region, or even a region of repose. Maybe it's not uncommon. You have your theme in a groove, and then you get to an interlude that connects to the next section, and have that be kicks. So that contrast sort of separates the division of the form. Groove changes and metric modulations have a great effect on the energy level. So those are always very appropriate to use. It's also very common to maybe set the scene with a kind of out of time floating type of introduction, and then you go into a stated time comping that at the beginning of the exposition. So you get a real lift out of that. Another example here is interrupting a long passage of high energy. So I'm going to play you the first piece right now. It's a high energy piece, and so it kind of needs some damping rods to keep the nuclear pile from melting down. Again, when you're in a high energy groove for a long period of time, the listener, as well as some of the players, can get tired, and all sorts of negative things can come from that. So it's very useful when you have a high energy thing to have little sections where you drop the energy down. The listener gets a chance to relax a little bit, and the players sort of like regroup also. Then when you go back to the high energy groove, it's reinvigorated, and you're ready for it for a longer period of time. So the first piece we're going to listen to is a piece I wrote called "Sounds Like Something." It's a high energy piece, and we're going to listen to it from the tenor solo. We're going to fade in the middle of a high energy groove, all free comping. Then it goes into a section of kicks, so broken time. After that, there's an orientation change. It's in time, so you get the orientation change. Then it goes back to kicks, broken time, and then finally back to the original orientation with some free comping. Soloist is Dino Gavoni, who's like one of the top tenor players in the Boston area here. The next piece I'm going to play is an example of how using contrasting time treatments on a more micro level here. It's a piece called Aftermath, and it's much more relaxed than that fusion piece we just listened to. We're going to listen to it from the second episode. And in this episode, there are 4 sections, and each section has an area of sort of conversational type of development that's played in groove, free comping, or a simple smooth ostinato is used. And then at the end of each section, there is I introduce one of the main motives of the whole composition, which gets developed a lot more later. And that's done over a kind of a floating rhythm section where time is kind of suspended, but you're still feeling it go by because, of course, the melody is in time. Later on, it's the later ones. There are some like very light kicks that are involved in that. Then after those 4 sections, then it goes into an interlude section, which actually serves as a climax to the entire first expositional part of the composition, and those are kicks that are played by the entire ensemble. both of those pieces are available on Bandcamp. Search for my name. The first one was played by my band Fusion Nouveau, Lords of Time. And the second piece, Aftermath, is on a CD entitled Stories, and it's by the Jazz Composers Alliance Orchestra, which is the composers group that I'm part of.
Thanks for watching today's mini lesson. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Drop any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos down below. To watch our full-length events and participate in live Q&As with our presenting artists, head to jazzcomposerspresent.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.